Hello and welcome to the Endtimes TCG, and today we will talk about the business model or a possible business model of the Endtimes TCG. I was sick for the past 4 to 5 days. I had a fever. I don't know what it was, but yeah, the week before I was constantly working and out and sleeping, just, well, not hitting the bed early, let's say that. But I'm on my way back to health again, and I was doing so much stuff and finishing stuff at the end of the year, and the Endtimes TCG didn't get any love in that time, but the past 4 days I was just, how do you say, not really living, but not yet dead. I guess it was the fever, and while I was relaxing and the fever came off, I had time again to get back to the Endtimes TCG. And that's a good thing. And also I'm reading this book, The Company of One, by Paul Jarvis. Also by Paul Jarvis, Deep Work. Yeah. And I'm reading a lot of his books. And also I'm reading by Alex Hermosi a book about how to do, how do you say it? A home run offer, like not having a gazillion businesses and all just doing fine, but having one business doing very well and then creating a home run so you get rich. Like, let's say I draw this and then I make a t-shirt out of it, and that t-shirt sells 1,000,000 times, and my commission for the t-shirt on, let's say, Teespring is $2, then I guess I made $2 million. Sure, taxes and all, but yeah, simple in theory. Maybe also in practice, but I've not put it into practice yet. At least I've tried. I've made a few sales already, also shipping stuff, but that's comic related. Let's stick here with the Endtimes TCG. So, reading up on cool stuff, and then also let me show you a bit of the artwork. I had a bit of time, and as you can see, yeah, the Big Lebowski, the Duderino. Sure, I can't steal or just take stuff from popular culture and put it in my cards, but you can definitely like reference stuff and hint at it, and that's what I plan to do. Then I was also thinking, like, not my best BMW, but it's a really small, I mean, as you can see, this is an A4 page. And I was taking a look at BMWs and also how many seats, what a car can do or should do in the Endtimes TCG. Come on, focus. And then also, like, what if we have a Porsche? Like, I saw something, it's called like the Widowmaker. Also not my best Porsche, but I will draw these then big. But it has only 2 seats, so maybe really good to get away, really good to chase, but only 2 people fit into it. This also might be uncommon. Yeah, uncommon. And this might be rare. Yeah, maybe even more than rare. I was thinking then about rarities, how rare is stuff. And maybe there's also a mega rare. Like in Magic it's called Mythic, but Magic is like really busted. What they print on the cards, like You used to have like for 4 mana, you used to have, I don't know, decent creatures, and now it's like the power creep is. It's just. Oh man. Let's not talk about Hasbro and Magic the Gathering because they have lost their way. No, wait. That's where we come to the Endtimes TCG. Why Endtimes TCG? Well, that's a good question. There are tons of TCGs out there, but I think I have something unique to say. Then this will be cards only, so people can play in person, from face to face, and have fun. It's not my first card game, so and MTG has been corrupted from within, I would say. By greed and probably stupidity. But it's not only this, it's like also other games, like old games were fun. There was a guy, like he talked about video games, and old games were fun. Like back in the days, you used to buy a video games, you put it in, you played it, it worked, it had to be finished. No DLC, no shit like that. You know what I mean? It had to be a standalone, finished, good game, polished. And they used to make games so that you could have fun and not to grab just cash all the time. And there were also very good games, like people put in a lot of work. And today it seems that everything has become lazy. Let's grab another cash. I mean, people have always earned by selling stuff, and I think that's a really good thing. I mean, money and evil, it's just like a tool to trade stuff. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but as I see it, it's just, it helps buying what I want to buy. And yeah. But yeah, games were fun. They usually weren't pay to win. I don't know if this changed, but if it's pay to win, why playing? Like, doesn't make any sense. No lazy cash grab and no wokeness. Well, I know today every character is a female empowered character and stuff like that. Come on, in the 90s and before that, don't tell me that they weren't. Okay, I was thinking about the Porsche, and then I put in Walter, a character like from the Big Lebowski, and Walter likes the rules. You think I'm fucking around? Am I the only one who cares about the rules? Then I put some big fat vampire lord down here. How can a Deuterino and a Walter and a BMW and a Porsche and a vampire lord fit together in one TCG? Well, it's the late 80s to mid 90s. I could see a vampire lord sporting a Porsche or a BMW, and a Deuterino and Walter drive around, not on a Terminator motorcycle, but on some really shitty, I know, Mercedes it's here, but probably in some shitty Japanese or American car. How are they gonna win against an evil vampire lord? Well, that is the question that this game seeks to answer. If you have seen cool badass movies from the 80s and 90s, or maybe some good movies like Constantine, then you know that normal people can overcome higher evils with a power of music, with true grit and stuff like that. I will show you in a second. And I've also here the Terminator bike. So I'm thinking about point costs, like normal human beings definitely costs less points. I don't know if this will be like the heroes you put into your deck and then somebody has to match it, or if you say, hey, let's play a 50-point game, and then some cards cost a certain points, and then you count them up and you say, okay, I have 50 points worth of cards and 60 cards have to be in the deck. Those two requisites I think will be valuable. And I don't know, maybe a vampire is already 30 points or 35 points, and then he has a bigger sword, and that sword maybe is 50 points, then he has only 10 points left. But we'll see. Maybe it's possible. And then I was also thinking, what will the cars do and the motorcycles? And I was watching the car chase scene from Heat. No, not from Heat, from Ronin, with Jean Reno and Robert De Niro. And they were chasing like a French car, like the guys who were getting away were the bad guys. And they were racing in a BMW through the French city. And Jean Reno and Robert De Niro were following in a French car, a Citroën. And so they were racing through this French city, very narrow, a very long car chase scene, 7 to 8 minutes. And the evil guys had a lady driver, and while she was getting away, she was also ramming other cars, like very impressive. And sometimes she rammed a car and that flipped over, and so a lot of stuff that could be done in that way. And we'll come in a second to the business model. I guess I've written it down here. And then also a thing about Runeterra, but let me show you. And then I was thinking about cassettes and music, because like while I was listening to this guy, who made this, I will link it down below. Yeah, here it is. YouTube, Dark. Just his name is just Dark. Why video games aren't fun anymore. And so he had music in the background playing, and it was definitely like 90s music or early 2000s. And so I thought, man, music is such an important part. What if you have a car, like in a movie, music is always very important. In the car chase scene, like in that from Ronin, no music, because that's purely realistic. But what if you have a great kick-ass movie, and then you put in a cassette or a CD, or you turn on the radio, and there's great music. Then you have music, or like an original soundtrack. And sure, I don't know if I can just print cards with cassettes, and there's Nirvana on it, or a certain song, or Mad World. But this were the music that was playing in this video, why video games aren't fun anymore. And I dig the Nirvana, I did dig the Mad World, the Baba O'Reilly from The Who, the Star Wars music from John Williams, the Fallout music, and the Guns N' Roses Sweet Child O' Mine. What if you could, or at least, let's say most, if you had a choice to bring with you a cassette and you put it in your car or in something that could be heard, or like you play the card and it gives some buffs to the group, like Nirvana gives 1 to Spirit and 2 to True Grit, and Guns N' Roses Sweet Child O' Mine maybe gives 1 to Spirit and to something else. In Hotel California, you know, maybe you get the idea. But it could definitely up the fun in the game, and it's not all cassettes, it's also like CDs. And I was just thinking if this might be a great inclusion here. And I think it will be. So let's now come to the final thoughts and maybe like to, let's call it the business idea. And before we go here, I had a certain idea here. Like, okay, let's create and sell original artwork, because like every card needs original artwork. Sure, I cannot put the dude or maybe a BMW, but something I have to draw to put it on the card, and I will. And it will definitely look good, and that could be sold. Then I could ask on YouTube, so hey, maybe if you like my videos or if you like the game, maybe you subscribe to my Patreon. So Patreon, second source of income for the game. Again, I stay a company of one, or just choose to increase it if I see fit. And then the printing of the cards might go to the game crafter, or something like print on demand, so people can print out the game. Maybe it's like free to play like League of Legends, like in 2009. And maybe if you want to get into it in a more serious way, maybe you can print them out or order some on the game crafter. And then it's again the idea, is it a living card game or a TCG? But I would go the trading card game route, randomized cards in a set. I don't know, just for fun. Would just because it's fun. And yeah, and here we got again like YouTube, Patreon, original art selling, but then what's possible, prints. Like if I have already an artwork, it could be sold on platforms by print. And then let's say you have a YouTube audience, let's say if the Endtimes TCG does well, like this is like a growing spiral. And then prints, merchandise, hoodies, t-shirts, caps, mouse pads, cups, and that's pretty much it. Maybe I'm gonna check out Gears of War. And then before we close this very long video, maybe a bit boring, but yeah, I was watching yesterday a video about why you should play Legend of Runeterra, and I played it and I liked it because like it was very balanced. And here it comes, like I used to play Magic back in 2005 up until 2010. That's where I quit it. Like Thoughts, Size, Lorwyn. I started a bit earlier, like 2000, 2001. This was my this was like Magic. And then at a certain point I had it all. And we played tournaments, and friends of mine went on to win regionals, nationals, and played worlds, and that's also fine for them because they were longer in it and they stayed longer. And I pursued then League of Legends, Dota, Hon, Path of Exile. I was more always into the creating part instead of the just consuming it. So that's maybe more understandable. And what the people have done, I guess, Blizzard. No, wait a second. These are the people who created League of Legends. Legend of Runeterra, it was 9 years in development. Like they started, they stopped, they started, they stopped, and it took several things from several other games, which many people might say, okay, it's bad, but they aimed for a good result. So when you play Hearthstone, It's you play and the opponent plays, and that's a fun thing. That's a simple thing, but there's no interaction, and that's, I guess, fine. But there came a point when it wasn't fine. When you started a game, or the opponent started a game, and I did it with Murlocs. I just put a bunch of Murlocs here, then the opponent, then I got another row of opponents, and turn 1, turn 2, the opponent was dead, and so on. And that's pretty stupid, because like there's nothing you can do. Like you lose to a broken game. And if we got here Magic the Gathering, like Screw and Flood, like you just got lands, nothing to play, you don't have enough lands, and yeah, it's fixed by ramp and card draw. I know, but in general, you get the idea. Then Gwent, I didn't play that much, and then the fourth game, I don't know. But the people from the Legend of Runeterra, they put in so much work so that each player, that they had a gaming experience, and a fun gaming experience, and maybe a somewhat balanced gaming experience. And this is what the Endtimes TCG is also seeking to accomplish. And it sometimes takes time. I don't know. I don't want to take 9 years of development, but I also took already 2 years, and that's totally fine. I'm doing it on the side, and I'm not obsessing over it, because I know it comes to me when it will when it's ready. And now, as you can see, I'm gaining new awareness of how things could work out, and where I do start, and how it could look, and what it could be. And yeah, sometimes I think things take time. The aim is fun. The aim is for you to enjoy the game. And what else do I have to say? Excuse me if it was boring. I'm still a bit sick from the past 5 days, or a bit weak. But yeah, I wanted to give you an update. I have a hell of a fun doing this. I have to laugh at myself. And yeah, it will be a huge sandbox, and maybe a lot of fun experiences will come out of this. So, see ya.